Hey guys, so today we're going to be taking a look at this controller. I've been looking at more controllers on my channel. In general, I've just been really into controllers lately. There's so many different types. This is going to be the NYXI Flexi. Really, really cool name, and it's even cooler what this controller can do. I'm going to open up the box. Of course, I've already opened it up and played with it. Very, very cool box. So I'm going to tell you exactly each part and what I think of it. For example, we're going to talk about the buttons, the triggers, the special features, the way the D-pad feels, every single component basically of the controller, the connection, and at the end of the day, how much fun is it to use? I absolutely love tactile controllers, and little preview. I already kind of took it out of the box. It comes in this very nice box. You can hear these clicky buttons. I'm an absolute sucker for clicky buttons, and this is, oh, so good. So this is the box that it comes with. You get a little accessory pack as well. What's really cool is that you can switch the buttons. For example, here you have the X, Y, A, B setup. If you want to move them around, I'm going to show you what you can do. They're magnetic, which is going to be one of the big features of this controller, but it also has a little bit of a secret hidden feature. Obviously, you get this. This is going to be your USB drive, and then your standard USB to USB-C charging cable. So overall, very nice packaging. But here is the controller, the NYXI Flexi. So Flexi is going to be sort of shorthand for flexible, if you will. Every time I click the buttons, it just takes me completely to a different place. It's so satisfying. Good ASMR video. So the NYXI Flexi is going to be flexible, and the reason that it can do that, watch this. You see this front panel? It's going to be magnetic, so you can just pull it off like this. When you put it back, it snaps on, magnetic. Very nice little satisfying snap there. But then what you can do, part of the reason why they call it the Flexi, is that, look at this. I just took out and almost dropped here the A button. It's magnetic. Show that to the camera there. And then you can swap it for the B. Like, let's say if you want to play on a different setup, a Switch or something like that, instead of the Xbox setup, you want the Nintendo setup, you can swap the A and the B. Snaps right back in place, being magnetic. So very, very cool. And obviously, after you're done swapping the buttons, you want to put the magnetic cover back on. That way it helps to keep everything in place. And now let's hear a word from our sponsor, VIP-cdkdeals.com, a Windows Pro CD key. Add to cart, you put in code CC20. This will also work on Windows 11. You want to go into your settings in Windows, change and adjust your CD key, click activate, and now let's go back to the video. But that's not even the biggest feature of this controller. Part of the Flexi name, being flexible, look what you can do. You can actually pop this off, and you can flip the orientation of it. So let's say if you want it to be more like a PlayStation 5 controller, for example, you can do this. And look at that. You got your left and your right thumbsticks. They're going to be right where the PlayStation 5 one is. And if you're more comfortable playing like that, if you like your D-pad on top, that's going to be up to your preference. It's going to be flexible. And then you just pull it up and you flip it back around. You pick it up and you kind of move it around. And then you can put it back if you prefer like the Xbox style of playing. It takes like 1 second and it's hot swappable. You can do it during the game as well. It's actually really cool. Gives you a little variation when you're playing if you want to swap it up. And then you see that the magnetic plate just snaps right in place. And it's a really, really attractive controller. Looks very, very nice. So let me take you through some of the features of this controller. Obviously, that's going to be like the big differentiator here, the Flexi, that flexible part. Swap your buttons. And as I showed you, you do get an extra set of buttons here in the little bag. So that way, if you happen to lose one when you're swapping it, or you want to put something else, you want to make everything, a different button, have 2 ways, you can do whatever you want. So let me take you through some of the features. Up here, you're going to have a USB-C for charging, and you do get the included cable. The port is a little bit recessed in, so if you're not using this particular cable, which is just kind of a standard. If you have a cable that has maybe a bulkier edge, you may want to look into using that one or something that's a little bit thinner. So that's pretty cool. It does have this really cool design on the handles. Let me turn it on so you guys see. Look at that. You have your RGB in person, it's very vibrant. You have your light up here, then both handles are going to have that RGB. You have this sort of almost honeycomb design on the grips themselves. Very, very cool. And it feels really, really nice as well. Like the controller, imagine maybe an Xbox controller, which is very, very comfortable, even when you have the sticks in sort of the PlayStation setup. It feels more like an Xbox controller, and you can see the shape is actually pretty similar to an Xbox controller as well. The lighting's very, very cool. So let me take you through some of the other features. You're going to have 4 back buttons, and this you can actually program to any of the face buttons, any button on the controller. They call it M2, M4, M1, M3. They're very good. They're pretty tactile. They're not paddles. They're more like buttons, but you can hear how they sound like. Very easy to actuate. They're very satisfying. I like the placement of these here. It's very easy. Usually I end up using the 2 bottom buttons more for, like, let's say the left will be jump and then the right crouch or something like that. And then the action buttons, I'll leave the 2 top ones for like X and Y if you're playing on Xbox or something like that. Or like an Xbox input on Steam. So the back buttons, definitely a hallmark of a pro controller. That's very, very nice. And back here as well, you just have the set and the reset light. If you want to change your RGB, for example, it gives you a little vibration, and you can change the lighting scheme. As you can see, you see that, the different colors. There's a very small button on the back, and there's also a little reset button. So that way, when you want to map your paddles, it's very, very easy to do as well. And then let's go up now. And it does have the grip in the back. It's not, the honeycomb is on the front. Then it has a nice little textured grip. Think of an Xbox controller, but a little bit more pronounced grip. Very nice. Feels really good in the hands. That's fantastic. Definitely very good. As we travel up, we have the triggers. It's going to be like a nice gunmetal gray to kind of go with that front magnetic panel. It's very monochromatic, the design. Looks very nice. So they're just going to be, they're going to be regular triggers, not mouse click or anything like that. And the triggers, you only get one type of pull. Some controllers may have a little, a little dongle here or a little button that you can switch and make it like a micro switch or something like that. These are just regular. They're very quiet, very smooth to actuate. Nothing too crazy. It just feels nice and standard. Then as we head to the bumpers, you can hear the bumpers, maybe a little bit more sound, but they feel pretty tactile, pretty nice. And then as we head to the front of the controller here, then it starts to get much different. The D-pad, as you can hear, very tactile D-pad, very responsive, not mushy, very, very nice. And obviously, maybe the star of the show are going to be the 4 face buttons. In this case, it's here as A, B, X, Y, just like an Xbox. These sound terrific, really, really nice, almost like a mouse click, if you will, and very responsive. You can go pretty fast. Very, very nice. Very tactile buttons. Definitely one of my favorite features. And then you have the different buttons here. Your typical button like the share button. Then you have your other buttons on the front. Then you're going to have your other buttons on the front here as well. Stuff for like your menu and any turbo mode or anything that's a little bit different like that. So overall, the controller certainly feels very, very good. And then, of course, the thumbsticks, regardless of what orientation you have them in, the Xbox or the PlayStation orientation, they feel really, really nice. And they are going to be Hall effect. So that means that they're going to be basically anti-drift. You're not going to get drift on these thumbsticks. Very, very nice. And it's cool you can take out the module. So if you ever have to replace at least one side, I'd imagine it'd be easier. But Hall effect thumbsticks, that's something that's coming on a lot of new controllers now. And even the triggers are going to be, Hall effect linear triggers. So similar technology, just makes them very responsive, very, very smooth. So that's an excellent, excellent feature set. Back buttons, mechanical buttons for the face, really nice D-pad, Hall effect sticks. You have your nice tactile bumper, linear Hall effect triggers. It just doesn't have sort of the mouse click triggers that I personally do like on a lot of controllers, but for a lot of games, this is actually preferable, so you get that full pull. And it is a very, very high quality linear Hall effect trigger. It feels really smooth. Look at that. It doesn't even make that much noise. So it's very, very smooth, very nicely done. And it has the grips. So in general, the controller is a lot of fun to use, especially considering you're playing a game. You know, just take off this magnetic panel, pull this off, and then like a few seconds, all of a sudden, you go from like an Xbox orientation of the sticks, snap this back on, and then you have a PlayStation 5 orientation. If you like to play a little bit closer, depending if you're playing a fighting game, maybe you need better access to like the D-pad or something like that. So overall, and I've used a lot of controllers, and I pay special attention to the small, minor details. You know, I really like tactile feedback in different controllers. The vibration feature is excellent. Here you get a nice, you know, robust vibration. On some controllers, it's a little weak, but this one's definitely very, very good. You're also going to get 6-axis gyro on the Switch, for example. For those of you that like to move around your controller and play with gyro, not every controller has that. Not every controller really works with the Switch as well as something like this will. Even though I use it mostly on PC, once in a while it's fun to use something like this on the Switch as well, depending on the game. And of course, definitely my favorite part has to be the mechanical face buttons. Very, very tactile, very nice. This is great for games that maybe you don't want to use the back paddles, like a fighting game or a game with lots of action. You're going to be very, very instantaneous response pretty much. And overall, it feels really good in the hands and just a fantastic controller. So I'm going to leave the link to this down in the description below. I want to thank NYXI for sending me this to review. Overall, an excellent controller. Let me know what you guys think. If you've used this or similar controllers, what your favorite is. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.